attention. Just as a reminder, this is our bullying definition of what bullying is: being mean to others on purpose to hurt them or hurt their feelings. The behavior is intended to hurt, is repeated, involves unequal power and control. So keep that in mind with bullying behavior. As we learned in the last class, there is a difference between normal conflict and bullying behavior. So bullying behavior is it's repeated and it's about unequal power and trying to control the situation or the person. So this is what bullying is. Today we're going to talk about ways to help stop bullying. And one of those ways is to learn a little bit more about empathy and learn how to be empathetic to other people. So that's a different word for some of us. We don't always know what empathy is. So we're going to discuss that today, Diana and myself. What I'd like for you guys to do now is in your group, I'd like for you to discuss the word considerate. If you were explaining what considerate is, maybe you have a younger brother or sister or a cousin, explain to them what does it mean to be considerate. So go ahead and discuss it in your groups and decide if you were to explain it, what would considerate. Okay, so let's hear what you guys have to say. What does it mean to be considerate? Who wants to be the spokesperson for this group? Laura does.
Oh, that's good. I'll be the spokesperson.
Great. Thank you.
Saying, thinking about someone's feelings, how your actions affect them, personal space, boundaries, that sort of thing.
Okay, good. So you're thinking about your own actions and how those actions would affect the people around you. Putting in, what would their personal space, if I respect their personal space. Good. Those are great examples of how to be considerate. So let's take it a step further and let's apply it towards empathy. Empathy, I don't want to give you the definition. I want you guys to create a definition for me. But think along the lines of being considerate, what you were just talking about. Thinking about other people's feelings, thinking about their personal space, thinking about how your actions affect them. What do you think it means to have empathy for someone else? So go ahead and in your groups, and you can write it on a flip chart. Choose someone who's going to write it down for you, and then someone who's going to report out. Try to think of a small, brief definition of what you think empathy is. Go ahead. Okay, let's hear what you guys had to say about what it means to be empathetic. Can someone from your group, your spokesperson, come up to the wall and post your sign and tell us about it? Let me get some tape for you. Not a problem.
I do have hold it for now. We looked at empathetic as putting yourself in their shoes. So if someone's hurting or sad, you're able to kind of, by being empathetic, you're able to feel what they're feeling and help them. So understanding and identifying how a person feels, caring for the individual. If you're empathetic, you're going to help them. You're kind, you're supportive, helping or guiding. And as we said, sympathetic kind of goes hand in hand with empathetic.
Perfect. So you guys even took it a step further, which I love, because that was going to be my next thing, to give examples. So it's putting yourself in someone else's shoes, understanding and identifying how a person feels. And that's exactly what we're looking for when understanding what empathy is. It's the ability to relate to someone else, to understand what they're feeling, to understand the position that they're in, and to feel for them, to put yourself in that position. These are all examples of that, and it's perfect for what we need for the class today. Diana's going to get us started on the next activity.
We're going to look at something to see how somebody feels. So I'm going to pass out a poem to you. And this poem is called Being Nobody. What do you think that means? What do you think this poem is going to be about?
Not having self-esteem or
Not having friends, no confidence.
Can I have a volunteer read the poem to the group? I will, to the class.
Being nobody. Have you ever felt like nobody? Just a tiny speck of air when everyone's around you and you are just not there.
Very good. Do you have any questions about this? Is there anything on there you're not sure what it means? What I want you to do next is you'll notice that there are 3 questions below that. As a group, discuss those 3 questions, and if one of you could be a recorder and write down the answers thoughts or questions or comments or the answers to those questions, examples, and then be ready to report out on each of those. All right, looks like all of you are finished now. So can I have a volunteer to read the first one and let me know what your group came up with?
What could make someone feel like nobody, just a tiny speck of air? We put being ignored, made fun of, having no friends, and being ridiculed.
Okay, good. The next one.
The next one. Yeah.
Who do you think wrote this poem? Girl or boy? What age? What are they like? And we said introverted, shy. They can be a boy or girl at any age. They're introverted, shy, timid, withdrawn, depressed, uninvolved, abused, bullied, and they're vulnerable.
Okay. And so you think anybody could feel that way, even an adult?
Sure. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
The next one.
What can you do to prevent people around you from feeling this way? You can say hi, draw them into a conversation, be welcoming, embracing, tell a teacher.
Okay, very good. Well, this is again an example of empathy, is getting to understand how somebody else feels. And in this poem, how would you say that they felt?
Like a nobody.
Like a nobody. Well, now that you understand how they feel, now what would you do about it? So in this next activity, you're going to get to practice. What can you do when you understand how somebody else feels?
So we're going to take a look at what inclusive means and what excluding means. So those are two very important words, and they're two opposites. So we need to take a look at and really understand how you can make somebody feel excluded. So in your groups on the flip chart paper, if we could have someone record different examples of how you, yourself, could exclude somebody. How do you show exclusion? Either through your words, give examples of those, through your body language, give examples of those, socially, how you might make someone excluded on social media, phones, things like that. So try to think of all the examples that you can think of how you would show exclusion to someone else. So go ahead and get started on that.
Where they're made fun of what they wear.
Okay, before we report out on exclusion, and we want to take a look at the other side, inclusion. So what are some ways that you can show someone that you are including them? Remember to consider ways that you can verbally include them, how your body language can include them. So think of ways that you can show someone that you are including them, and list those examples on your flip chart.
Of smiling.
Okay, so we want to see what you guys came up with, and we want to compare the two that you came up with. If you guys could pick a different spokesperson from your group to come and post your paper up on the wall, you can use the tape that I provided for you on the table.
I'll put it up.
Oh, thanks.
Put it right here.
That's good.
When we were talking about exclusion, we said being made fun of by their looks, turning their backs on a person when you're talking to them, not inviting them to participate, blocking a person on social media, humiliation, especially public or social media, being left out, picking last on the team. For inclusion, we had smiling, saying hello, inviting to sit at your table, giving encouragement, tagging in social media posts, complimenting, drawing into conversations.
Great, you guys did a wonderful job of showing different ways that you can exclude somebody and ways that you can include them. Taking a look at this list, you don't have to share out, but I just want you to envision if this were happening to you, if people were making fun of you, if they were turning their backs, if you were trying to join their group, they were ignoring you, if you were the only one not being invited, how would that make you feel? So just internalize that, think about how that would make you feel if you were the one that was being excluded and not allowed to join the rest of the group. Thinking of inclusion, they're smiling at you, they're saying hello to you, you are being invited, they're welcoming you. What's a way physically, besides smiling, that you can show somebody that you're including them in your group? So if I'm talking with someone here and someone walks up, what's a way that I can open up to show them?
Physically.
Turn my body so that I'm showing them that I'm welcoming them into the conversation. So just, again, internalize these things and think about how it would make you feel if were smiling at you and they were including you in the conversation and you were able to sit at the table with them and enjoy the conversation with them as well. So just kind of relate it back to yourself and how you would feel both if it was you were being excluded and if you were being included in the conversation or the party or whatever it might be. Thinking about what you listed up here, we're going to do a role play. So you're going to get a situation on a piece of paper and you are going to do two different role plays. In one role play, you're going to show through your body language and through your words how you would exclude the person in your role play. And then on the opposite end, you're going to show how you would include them, what you could do to help the situation and what you could do to make the person feel unhappy or sad. So I'm going to give you your role play and then you guys can discuss and brainstorm how you're going to demonstrate it for the class.
All right. Was this inclusion or exclusion?
Exclusion.
Exclusion. How was it exclusion?
Her body language turned her away and excluded her from the table.
How do you think she felt about that?
Sad, alone, lonely.
Do you think the other was aware that that's how she was feeling?
It looked intentional.
Okay. Do you think she understood that that's how it felt? Good. Okay. And did you have another one?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go ahead and do another one.
Do you guys want to do it?
Okay, big difference. What is some of the body language that you noticed differently from this one and the first one?
She was inviting her. She took her and moved her seat over and faced her, and then shook her hand. to
Okay.
welcome
What did you notice on her face? What were some of the expressions on her face that you noticed?
her. Happy, excited, smiling.
What was the reaction to the body language and the facial expressions?
The same exact.
The same exact
she felt
one.
warmth and love.
What did she do to include not only, here, but what else did she do to include others into this?
Well, she was, and
Good, good. So how do you think that feels now?
great.
Good. And how do you think the other one feels?
Just as good by including.
So that also gave a great feeling. Now compare that to the first time when it was exclusion. Good, good.
mean and
All right, and go ahead and you can come back over here. Nice job. So how do people feel when they're being excluded? How do people feel when they're being excluded?
sad,
left out.
isolated, lonely. Yeah.
How do you think they're going to react if they feel that way? How would they act if they feel that way? If they feel sad or if they feel left out? How do you think they're going to act?
They would start to cry or go to the bathroom and start to cry or.
Their self-esteem is
It's
just
just
going to be
riddled.
ripped apart.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think it feels when you include others?
Makes them feel good. Makes them feel happy. You
Gives
know,
them- gives
like
them
you're
the
part of
self-
it. It's,
Mhm.
go ahead.
To give them the self-esteem to approach others and that sort of thing.
So what would be some great ways to include others?
Welcoming them, smiles.
When they're alone.
And I
reach
see
out
you
to
using a
them.
lot of body language too, because that's important, that sometimes you don't have to say anything, you can just use gestures of body languages, smiles. Very good, very good. So how do you think being empathetic to others would keep you from being a bully?
Well, if you're being empathetic, then you're not, you're understanding what it feels like to be bullied, so you don't want to take those actions, because you would know how it felt on the other side.
Good, anybody else, any other comments? How being empathetic would keep you from being a bully?
Just not being an aggressive person. And being, you know, a normal teenager.
Yeah, and smiles are contagious, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Good job, thank you. Yay, we did it. That was it.